Cardi B has a lot of songs. She only has one song that I actually know and have on my playlist. But every once in a while, because she's played so regularly, I will hear a lyric and be like, ah, she's spitting, you know? So one day she said this line. She said, I don't dance now. I make money moves. Said, I don't gotta dance. I make money move. And as soon as she said that, at the time, it struck in my head because, you know, different things that people say will strike something in my mind. And what it struck in my mind was settling. And today I want to talk to you guys about settling. And the reason why that made me think about settling is because what she's saying is that she used to dance. We all know she used to dance. And she ain't gotta do it no more. So she does something else, you know? And it said to me, like, okay, she settled for what she had to do while she had to do it, you know? And as soon as she could do something else, she went off and did something else. And I've known a lot of dancers, you know, in my day. I got some still on my Facebook page, you know. I've known a lot of strippers. And a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them said exactly the same thing. Like, this is for now. This is what I'm settling for right now. So I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit more about settling because I see it coming up a lot and I just want to put my 2 cents in. So let me do the introduction and then I'll explain. I am Queen Osset Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to anybody and everybody that may like it as well. Please drop us a positive comment in the comment section. And stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to read 2 positive comments and respond to them from previous videos. Thank you to everyone who's been leaving comments. 9 times out of 10, I either respond to your comment or I drop a thumbs up and some love on your comment. Okay. Also, if you would like to get a reading done, or if you would like to hit me up on social media, if you would like to become a patron on Patreon, any of that information is also underneath this video. So check it out. All right. So when I heard that, right, it made me think. I was like, you know what? Yeah, okay. And I'll tell you what it made me think. I thought to myself, I don't settle no more. I make self-loving moves. So kind of the same vibration, you know, she making money move and I'm making self-loving moves, okay? And the reason why all that came together for me was that I feel like people settle every single day. And sometimes I actually think it's okay. Like in the case of employment. If you have to settle for a job that you don't particularly like at that moment, it could be stripping, it could be bartending, it could be receptionist, it could be anything. You know, I think that a lot of us to make money sometimes do something. Like I was a waitress for a couple of maybe a year. I don't remember how long it was, but I was a waitress. I was a security guard for years. I did a lot of different. I worked at a pizza shop. I did a lot of different little jobs I didn't want to do. Okay, a lot of them because I did want to pay bills. I did want to eat every day. So when you do that, to me, that's an emergency. If you settle for something in an emergency that's going to get you to a certain place, I can understand that. When I was in school, I knew a stripper. Okay. And she worked at a local place. Everybody knew her. You know, she was really cool. But she told me when I first met her, I'm going to be a doctor. And I was like, oh, okay, that's what's up. And today she is a doctor. So that was something that she did to pay her way through school. And like I said, if it's something that you have to settle for right now to get you to a certain place, I can feel that. To me, that's an emergency. But my problem is that I see people settling in relationships. And I feel like settling in relationships is self-hatred. And I'm going to tell you what's the difference between the two. If you're settling for a job that you don't like while you're working towards something else, I can understand that. But remember, we just said that's an emergency situation. Being in a relationship is not an emergency. You're not going to die if you can't orgasm tomorrow. You know, it's not an emergency. You don't have to have somebody in your life. And I see people settling in situations that are not good, number one, not healthy, not positive, number one. And at the same time, they're like, oh, well, this is just for now. But for why? Why can't you just work on yourself for now until somebody comes along that's worth your time? You see the difference here? In one situation, you need to eat every day, you need to make some money, but in the other situation, it's no need there. Of course, there's some wants there, some major wants. You might want orgasms, you might want companionship, you might want somebody to help you pay the bills. There are some wants there, but it's not really, except for that financial one, it's not really a need. And you really shouldn't get with another person because you need financial help. A lot of people do that. And I understand that when you're in a situation and you gotta, you gotta do what you gotta do. I was in a relationship I was in a couple relationships now that I think about it, and I could not afford to depart from the person because financially I couldn't afford it. I didn't have enough money. So I do understand that that happens, but it shouldn't be what you're settling for indefinitely. Like, oh, okay, well, like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. And like, what? I don't understand that concept because, like I said before, this is not something that you need to have. Financially, yes, but just to have a companion, like for instance, I'll give you an example. I know a woman. I know a couple different women now that I think about it, and a couple guys, but I'm going to talk about one particular person. I know a woman who's a registered nurse. She makes a lot of money and she works a lot. You know, she's a hard worker. And she's in a relationship with this guy, and they've been in this relationship pretty much consistently for the past 6 years. He has not worked the entire time. Supposedly, he's a promoter. I don't know what that means because I never see him go anywhere or do anything. He doesn't even post things on his social media. So I don't know what that's about. But supposedly, he's a promoter of something. And basically, every time I talk to her or we talk on Facebook Messenger video, he's either laying on a couch, playing PlayStation on the couch. He's pretty much just chilling. Sometimes she'll ask him to do, get some gas, get some groceries, something like that. But for the most part, he just chills. So my thing is that I said to her, I don't understand this relationship because you're always talking about how unhappy you are. Why are you in this relationship with somebody who's not even contributing to the household? And she said, because she's settling for this relationship until something better comes along. And I'm like, but why? Why do you have to settle for somebody who's clearly not making you happy? Your self-esteem is taking a hit. Your credit is taking a hit, because every time I turn around, he done bought something else on her credit card. And I'm like, you're taking hits here repeatedly, but what are you gaining from this? What do you get from this? And you're unhappy. I could see if she was really, really happy and this was going on. If this was going on and he was keeping her happy, then I probably would just be like, okay, whatever. But because you're not happy and settling, I think that's a double whammy. I don't think you should settle for a relationship, period, but definitely if you're not even happy. So I feel like if you're in a relationship with someone that you're settling for, you are, I call this self-hatred because you're self-sabotaging yourself. You don't need to be in that relationship. You can just work on yourself and work on drawing to you a person who does make you happy. All the time that you're wasting on these scrubs, all the time you wasting on these women that don't, really want anything, all the time that you're wasting is time that you could have been working on yourself and working to manifest a good person into your life. But instead, you're settling for a person for no real good reason, and you're probably taking emotional hits. Because if you're settling for a person that you're really not feeling, you're not giving yourself the most love. And that's why I said I don't settle no more. I make self-loving moves. The moves that I make are self-loving. So one of those is not getting with another person that I have to settle for, like I did in every relationship, every entanglement, every anything that I got into romantically. It was somebody that I knew I was settling for. At some point, I heard myself say it in the very beginning. Okay, this is good enough for right now. I've either said it to myself or to another person. And I stopped doing that. And that's where the self-loving moves come from. Instead of just sabotaging myself, hurting myself with somebody that I know is not right for me. Instead, working on myself to manifest somebody who maybe is, and maybe I won't. Maybe I never will get with another person. But the bottom line is that I will be a better person because I will have been loving myself all of that time, and nobody's hurting me. There's nobody here harming me, cheating on me, abusing me. You know what I mean? Nobody's harming me. So it's a win-win. And like I said, I'm not losing anything. I don't lose anything at all. I can have a companion if I want one. I can have an orgasm if I want one, Whatever a person would settle for and put up with another person in a relationship that they don't want to be with, I can find a way to have the exact same thing and still love myself. I can find a way to still make self-loving moves without settling for somebody I do not need to be around. So I just wanted to put that out there because I see it happen with a lot of people, men and women. I see them settling for relationships that they know are mediocre, or relationships that they know are not going to go anywhere, or relationships that they know should not go anywhere. So I wanted to put that out there because I'm like, you know what? That settling, that self-hatred, that self-sabotage makes a person, it damages you. Every time that you do it again and again and again and again, it's damaging to your heart chakra. It's damaging to your self-worth, your self-esteem. It's damaging. And then people walk around wondering why they feel bad about themselves. Well, you've been betraying yourself for quite some time. So I just wanted to put that out there for you to think about, because I feel like a lot of people feel like, they have to settle. They got to just take whatever is there. And you really don't have to do that. You don't have to do that at all. All right, let's look at some positive comments. The first one is from I Am Kiko. And this one says, since I subscribe to your channel, I start to understand and accept myself more. That is wonderful. The way you describe things and speak yourself freely is really healing and touching. So thank you, Q. Oh, you're very welcome. The most important thing in the world is to love yourself. And I learned that way too late. Teach your children that from the time that they're little. That's the most important thing, seriously. So I'm glad that you're learning it. Better late than never. Pick it up. That's good. I'm so happy to hear that. Kibi Girly. Hey, Kibi. Kibi said, I would definitely raise my family member's child. I think most people would. I know some people in the comment section said they wouldn't do it. And I understand that too. No, I mean, it's no shame in my opinion. I understand that. But I think that for me and for most people, if it's a family member, especially a family member that you're close to, and if there's nobody else, I can see, like in my family, I got a big family. So if somebody got harmed, it's a number of people who could take the child. It's not just one person, It's a lot of people, aunts, uncles, cousins, that would be financially and emotionally, mentally fit to take a child. So it probably wouldn't be me anyway. But the point of the matter is that if the need was there, most of us would do it. If you know that you're not built like that, I would say don't do it. The child is better off without you if that's really not what you're feeling. They're better off finding another person. But if it was a family member, I would definitely not let them go into the system. Definitely not. Especially like my brother's kid, my sister, something like that. When I'll give you a little story. My little brother is really my cousin biologically. My aunt had him, my mother's little sister. Now, my grandmother had passed away early. She died at 54, way too young. And my grandfather died a couple months before her. I really think she died because her heart was broken, but that's another story. So grandmom died, and her youngest girl ended up pregnant, like immediately, because grandmom was pretty, on point, So you probably wasn't going to get pregnant under her watch, I mean, my aunts and uncles did, but it wasn't an easy thing. They had to sneak out and do all kinds of 007 type stuff, So my aunt gets pregnant immediately, and she can't take care of the baby. She's 18 years old. She doesn't know how to take care of the baby. She doesn't have any, gainful employment or anything like that. And she ended up living in a shelter because she was supposed to be staying with another family member, and that, she wasn't listening. So I'm gonna just keep it real. She wasn't listening to nobody. She wanted to do her. And so they was like, all right, we'll go ahead and do you. So she has the baby. She's living in this shelter. And she goes out one night to party. And she comes back days later. Now, she did leave him with a babysitter. But the babysitter thought she was going to be gone for 20, maybe a couple hours, not like 72. More like 4 or 5, So when she didn't come back, the shelter called our family and was like, look, somebody need to come get this baby or he going to foster care. I was 10 years old, and my mother and I were the last in the house. My sister had moved out. My mom's boyfriend, she had thrown out. So it was just me and her, and everything was pretty smooth, and she told me what was going on because my mother always talked to me like I was grown. I don't know what that is, but she always did. And she told me what was going on. And I felt so strongly in my spirit that she should get the baby. I felt so strongly. And I was like, get him and I will help you. And I did. I was 10 years old. And she got him, and I helped her until he was 5 years old when I ended up, getting older and, running the streets, But for 5 years, I helped her with him. And to this day, we're really, really, me and him are really close because I fed him, I bathed him, I changed his pamper. I knew my mom couldn't do it by herself, and she was a cop. She wasn't even home all day. And I was like, look, this is important. And I felt that at 10 years old. I was a child, but I knew in my spirit it was important. And she got him, and I helped her every step of the way until I started rebelling and didn't want to be home anymore. But by then he was 5. He was in kindergarten by then. But all of that time, I helped her because in my spirit, I felt it was important. So some people are going to feel that way, and some people they're not going to be built like that. Their life isn't set up for that, or maybe even emotionally they're not set up for that. I think that's the thing about children. You have to be in a certain place in yourself, and if you're not in that place, that's fine. Let somebody else have them. Let somebody else raise them. They're better off, letting somebody else raise them than you messing them up, or messing up your own life because you can't pull it off, So that's my little story. All right, guys, it's time for us to get going. So you come back soon because I got a lot more to say. See you later.